name is Danjuma Nanjo. I work with Eco Solicitors and Advocates.
I am Sule Salawa. I work with Eco Solicitors and Advocates.
I'm Justice Ojino. I work with Eco Solicitors and Advocates.
I'm Ibe Moses Chiboze. I work with Eco Solicitors and Advocates.
Okay, we are just here to discuss very briefly one of the major misconceptions in tenancy laws in Lagos. And Alaja, I would like you to start. Particularly, I want us to focus on the provision of Section 6 or 2 of the tenancy law. What happens? Why can't I get my money back if I move into a new apartment? I decide to screed it. I decided to put new tiles and all and make the place look beautiful and of course make the property of the landlord become improved in value and in rate. So why can't I get my money back when I'm leaving?
Well, there is no law stopping you from doing that. You can actually, you can actually build that apartment to your taste. But then before you actually do that, you have to seek the written consent of the landlord, the owner of the property. It's very, very essential. Because before you can recover the money spent to improve the property, so you have to get it. If the oral permission is actually not enough, get the written authority. Let him testify to the fact that he actually gave you the go ahead to do those improvements. So I think that, Mr. Ibe, do you have anything to say to this?
What about the situation where the landlord is a smart person? Upon your request to make such improvements and he refuses to give the meeting consent, what will be the way out?
Then it's actually so simple.
Why did you throw the question back at you? You're the one that has to go. Oh, no problem.
The lead person here.
Oh, yeah, consider.
So it's actually a simple thing. If the landlord, if he tries to do your intelligence, maybe he refuses to give his consent, it's as simple as ABC. Then don't go ahead. If you think it is something you can actually, the money you want to use in the something you can actually forgo, then you can actually go ahead to make the improvement. But if you think you can actually forgo the money, it is actually advisable for you to get the written consent, no matter what. If you can't forgo the money, the expenses, ensure you get the written authority, otherwise you are on your own. So,
That's what I want to add to.
Yes, I want to add, being smart is not enough for the landlord. The law has already provided in Section 6 sub 2 of Tenancy Law of Lagos State. However, if the tenant goes ahead to make this improvement, I still believe there is still equity for him to regain his money one way or the other. There's still equity.
Choose your opinions. We are not supposed to agree. That's what we are here. You get? I agree with the fact that you can bring up an argument. You can't go to the lawyer and the lawyer will tell you that, hey, so yeah, we will tell you that this is the strength of your case, but we can still bring up this kind of argument because sometimes you might get lucky. But we must also remember that your case is very weak.
yes,
Your case is very, very weak. No, aside from that, so equity also follows the law. When the law has been very, very deliberate that this is what should happen.
There's a clear position of
Yeah, there's a clear position of the law.
But in this case, if the tenant goes ahead, maybe makes a mistake, doesn't know. He's not a lawyer. The tenant is not a lawyer like we are. Yes, he goes ahead and makes this.
Well, also said, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
But equity is there. We know equity.
Consult your lawyer.
Equity follows the law quite alright. It is clear. But the mistake has already been. Yes.
And sometimes these things that we are taking as a joke, sometimes it involves colossal sums of money. Because usually if you are involved in building projects, by now you should know that the amount to do interior most times is much more than the amount you used to put the carcass together. The amount you used to put the carcass together is almost cast in stone. It can almost be measured by any level of quantity surveying, maybe year one quantity surveying. But when it comes to internal, exclusive, exquisite, tastefully furnished and finished houses, it is top dollar. So because of that, Alaja, I fully agree with you. But Danjuma, your lawyer,
let's just add what Danjuma said. For the time to go on the safe side, maybe he wants that improvement. He wants to live a sweet
Sweet, soft life,
Yeah, but
which
now,
is what happens usually.
let there be written. Let there be written letter. Let there be written notice to the landlord of the intended improvements. Then the tenant should also keep all the receipts of the work that was done. Then maybe then, if there's an action for recovery of the money spent, he could tender those receipts and that notice, stating that the fact that the landlord refused deliberately refused to give them the consent because of a bad intention. So maybe the court might look might tilt to his favor.
Okay,
if possible.
Okay, let's also look at it from practical real life realities. Usually, the conversation won't be by correspondence. It will be by WhatsApp. It will be by Telegram. Alaja, do you think that is consent in writing? Dear landlord, how are you? How was your weekend? What's up? Abeg o, I see the way. Thank you for a good structure that you have built. I want to put in some new tiles to suit my taste. I want to do some screening. Types it on WhatsApp. What do you think?
Well,
Is it in writing? Does it satisfy the provision of section 6.2?
To me, I feel it actually satisfies it because WhatsApp, the world is actually global now. WhatsApp is a means of communication. You don't need to why it necessarily does not.
It's typing not different from writing. Sorry, we have to disagree.
Yes.
We can't all agree. It's typing not different from writing. But I'm typing on WhatsApp. Am I writing?
Well, it is for me. At least it is actually for me. The content is for me. It's fine. There's a difference. But the landlord does not need to have it in writing, append his signature and everything. Provided they actually give WhatsApp correspondence is actually a good communication.
Let me take it a notch further.
Okay.
What if it was a voice note consent that the landlord gave? Does it satisfy the provision of the law? Because in interpreting provisions of the law, one of the things the first rule of statutory interpretation is that it has to be the legislature intended it, the literal, you understand, the literal rule. What did I read in the law? The law says in writing. It's voice notes in writing. His voice, I don't know, I'm just because you have to play devil's advocate. You have to look at.
I will come again to say now the clear wordings of the law did not say voice notes. It says in writing. Now in this case, there have been a communication between the landlord and the tenant. The communication is now what we need to decide on whether it will suffice for writing. Where the communication
was the law didn't even say that the communication.
Yeah,
the law chose a particular form of communication, writing.
Now, the law always
written consent.
Consent of the landlord. It is clear and express.
And that's the first rule. Of course, there are other rules of statutory interpretation.
Yes,
which you can call me.
Yes.
That's pushing.
Exactly.
But 90 out of 100%, a literal rule of statutory interpretation is what you have to use to interpret a statute. And this statute says in writing.
Okay, using the literal rule, then WhatsApp correspondence is not enough. It has to be written.
No, but WhatsApp too. Typing is a form of writing.
So, Elijah, what if your own client did the communication through voice note? How do you remedy that?
Let's look at it from this instance. What about if the landlord is not in the country? Assuming the landlord is overseas and he has not given any power of attorney to any person in Nigeria and there's need for me to tell the landlord exactly. So do I need to wait till the landlord says, okay, I want to write this thing. You have an authority to do this also improvement. No. Okay. I can actually communicate with the landlord to WhatsApp.
Okay, you know what? And another thing is, we have argued, these are in-house counsels arguing team. But the simplest thing to ensure that there are no stories for the sake of everybody listening to us is, my brother and sister, put it in writing. Let them take a picture of it so that we don't have to fight like this. You don't have to hire a lawyer to argue that voice note is more important or typing is not writing or this is not that.
You go even do the written consent and scan and send.
Yeah, scan and send, take a picture and send. and have it in you understand. So those are some of the challenges that.
And to add with what Elijah started with initially,
Mm.
it doesn't just have to be you improving, making refurbishment of the property. You could also remove some things to make life better for you in that property. That is you trying to improve the property.
Yeah.
So you still need the permission, the written permission of the landlord of the property, just to be on the safe side, so that you don't have to come back to us to help you get remedy for whatever you have done. Yes.
So okay, just in closing, let me also bring this. Always ensure that before you touch, let me say, a strand of hair on the property of any landlord, seek his permission in writing. Yeah, we know that you will add value to it after it's credit, you add value to it after you remove the 1929 tiles there and you put 2070 tiles there. Yeah, you're supposed to appreciate it, you're supposed to be very, very grateful to you. But some of them will be like, why did you, those 1920 tiles were antique tiles that you will not be able to see, and it has sentimental value to my great grandmother who put it there. So they may say that you may have to go and look for those antique tiles to put back. So in order to avoid any of these stories that touch, before you touch the strand of hair on the property of anybody that is not your own, please seek consent in writing, so that we don't have to argue all these arguments that we are arguing. But if it has happened, it has happened. People will say that it's Oyinbo that did Byron that also did erase. So that's it for now. We all work for Eco Solicitors.
Thank you. Thank you
Pleasure
for
having you.
Thank you.
Join us. You didn't talk much on this one.